Hey, family. Black women's hair has always been more than just hair, hasn't it, sisters? It's been a statement, a symbol, and a source of both pride and oppression. But did you know that in the late 1700s, there was a law, an actual law in Louisiana, that forced black women to cover their heads to make them less attractive and to know their place? This was called the Tignon Law. It was a rule meant to diminish black women, but instead it fueled resistance, creativity, and power. So today, family, we're going to dive into this little known piece of history to uncover how something meant to silence us became a symbol of strength. Let's get into it. You got to love black folk. Yeah. All right, so to understand the Tignon Law, we first need to understand Louisiana in the 18th century. In 1763, France ceded Louisiana to Spain, okay? And under Spanish rule, the colony was racially complex. So there were three primary racial groups. There were white Europeans who were Spanish and French settlers who were the ruling class. Then there were enslaved Africans brought to work on the plantations. And then there were free people of color, many of whom were of mixed African and European descendants. Okay, so we got the three groups: white Europeans, enslaved Africans, and they were called gens de couleur libres, meaning free people of color. Well, in Louisiana, they had one of the largest populations of free black people in the United States at that time. So many were like business owners, skilled workers, artisans, etc., right? So some had even inherited or purchased their freedom. Some were the children of enslaved black women and wealthy white men, which resulted in a practice known as placage, where white men entered informal relationships with black women, often providing them with financial security. So the women in this group, who were free black women, were known for their beauty, their elegance, and their exquisite hairstyles. But here's the problem, a problem for free black women. Now imagine, y'all, imagine being a white woman in Louisiana during this time, the 1700s. Free black women were often seen wearing elaborate hairstyles adorned with feathers, beads, and jewels. And these black women were walking confident, honey, okay? They walked the streets with dignity. And most importantly, they attracted attention. So what happened? White women, a lot of them got jealous, especially those married to powerful men. They felt threatened by the beauty and presence of these free black women. So they pressured the Spanish governor, Esteban Rodriguez Miro, to do something about it. So in 1786, that governor passed the Tignon Law. So what is this? The Tignon Law was a mandate that forced black women, both enslaved and free, to cover their hair with a cloth known as a tignon in public. You see the lengths that white women went through to cover up the beauty of a black woman? Mm, mm, mm. What was the purpose of this? I'm going to tell you, the purpose was to make these black women less attractive, to diminish their status, and to put them in their place. So, this governor who passed this law, his justification was that free black women were above their station and needed to be distinguished from white women. So, the law aimed to first reinforce white supremacy by making black women visibly lesser by wearing this damn thing on their head. Second, to reduce the perceived competition between free black women and white women. See, we've always been the fascination and for white men, even if they won't admit it. The majority of white men would jump at the opportunity to at least taste the sweet nectar of a sister. Next, this law was to prevent free black women from using their beauty and social status to disrupt racial and gender hierarchies. But this was not just a dress code, it was a deliberate act of racial oppression. But honey, you cannot keep a sister down. Let me tell you, the power of resistance is something. This is how black women they reclaimed the Tignon. So Here's how the story goes. Instead of shrinking in shame, black women turned the Tignon into a statement of power and beauty and resistance. And they didn't just simply cover their head with dull plain cloths. Oh no, honey. Instead, honey, we sisters, they chose vibrant, luxurious fabrics. They styled their head wraps into elaborate, regal designs, and they adorned them with jewels and ribbons and intricate patterns. So rather than making them invisible, the Tignon made them even more striking. So, see, what the white man and the white women thought was that black women were just going to cover up their heads in some scarf and make them look all ugly, honey. Black women know how to make lemonade out of any type of lemon. We know how to make collard greens out of a dandelion, honey. And that's what they did with these Tignons. Rather than making them invisible, the Tignon made them even more striking. What was meant to be a mark of inferiority became a symbol of pride and defiance. And black women were saying, you may try to control me, but I will never be invisible. In this way, black women outsmarted the law, and they compiled and complied while still expressing their dignity, creativity, and resilience. So, what was the lasting impact of this Tignon law? Although the Tignon law was repealed in the early 1800s after the U.S. acquired Louisiana, its impact still lingers. Think about how black women's hair has contributed to be policed and legislated. The quote, the good hair versus bad hair debate. The idea that looser, straight textures are more desirable than kinky coiled textures, or workplace discrimination. I know this firsthand. Whenever I go on interviews, I'm gonna be honest with you. Many times I have had to put in weave and wigs, long straight hair, to make the white counterparts feel comfortable. Because when I came in there with my very short hair, then I always would get a different visceral reaction. It's really something. So workplace discrimination, women have been fired or denied jobs for wearing natural hairstyles like locks, braids, or even their own short natural hair. Even school policies. Children have been suspended from school for wearing natural hairstyles. And then we have the Crown Act. The modern legislation is a direct response to the continued discrimination against black hair. So the Tignon law was not just about head wraps, y'all. It was about controlling black identity, something that the majority of white folk have done since the beginning of time. And that battle continues today. So, why is the Tignon law, why does it still matter? Because it reminds us that black women's hair has always been more than just hair. It has been legislated. Isn't that crazy? It has been controlled. It has been used to define our worth, but we have never allowed it to define us, have we, sisters? The Tignon law was an early attempt to police black women's appearance, but it failed. And it was an attempt not by white men, not by black men, but by white women because they felt intimidated because some of their white men were attracted to the black women walking around adorning themselves, looking beautiful with their own hair. So they figured cover up those women's hair. And see, that was a direct that was from the enemy, Satan himself, because the word of God says that a woman's hair is her crown and glory. And so, what those white women allowed the Satan to do is to use them to say, well, we're going to make these black women cover up their crown and glory, which is their hair. But little did they know, you can never squelch the beauty and the queendom of a black woman. So, even though the Tignon law was an early attempt to police black women's appearance, it failed because black women refused to be erased. We took their rules and made them our own. And today, family, we're going to continue to fight, right, sisters? Every time we wear our natural hair with pride, every time we protect young black girls from hair discrimination, every time we celebrate our beauty on our own terms, the Tignon law tried to take our power. Instead, we reclaimed it. And that, family, is the legacy of black women's hair. It's a legacy of strength, resistance, and unapologetic beauty. Thank you all so much for this teaching. If it blessed you, like, share, and subscribe. Please continue to follow me. Hit the notification bell so you know when I upload the videos. And hey, if it really blessed you, buy a sister a cup of coffee. Love you all, and I love what I'm doing. Talk to you soon. Bye.